It's 1475, and we are in Florence. The city is an epicenter for creativity, and something extraordinary is happening beyond this doorway. This is Leonardo da Vinci. He's 23 and yet to become the legendary genius we think of today. Across the studio is his mentor, Andrea del Verrocchio, who's been nurturing Leonardo's talents for the past 8 years. This is the baptism of Christ, the painting they have just completed together, and Verrocchio has just vowed to never paint again. Yet, despite Leonardo's early promise, no one could have predicted the transformative legacy being forged that would forever alter the course of creativity and human understanding.
To be able to fully appreciate how Leonardo destroyed his mentor Verrocchio and eventually became the man he did, it's important we first understand his origin story. It's the 15th of April, 1452, and we are in the small town of Vinci, just outside Florence. Leonardo has just been brought into this world by his 16-year-old mother, Caterina, who is an orphan peasant. His 25-year-old father, Piero, is a notary, a profession similar to a lawyer. His parents' relationship was short-lived, and it's likely his father already had another marriage arranged, which took place just 8 months after Leonardo's birth. This resulted in Leonardo being classed as non-legitimo and spending most of his early childhood being brought up in the household of his father's parents and his uncle Francesco, the one family member who he would remain close to throughout his life. Despite the limitations of illegitimacy, there were benefits. It meant he avoided the rigid tradition of becoming a notary like his father, and crucially, this freedom allowed Leonardo to follow his curiosity. It's 1464, and the 12-year-old Leonardo has just been brought to Florence by his father Piero. It's a city that connects art and technology and rewards people who master a variety of disciplines. Florence has the highest literacy rate in Europe, and the emergence of book publishing houses means there is now widespread access to literature and knowledge that was previously unavailable. This explosion of information and innovation in the 15th century is in many ways comparable to the internet boom of the mid-1990s. Florence's cathedral is the most beautiful in Europe, and 30 years before Leonardo arrived, the world's largest dome was added to the top, made up of 4 million bricks and a self-supporting structure. The architect behind what remains to this day the largest masonry dome in the world was Filippo Brunelleschi. Leonardo arrived in Florence 18 years after Filippo Brunelleschi's death. However, his bold vision and mastery of both art and engineering leaves an enduring legacy that inspires a young Leonardo. The dome, which is visible from all parts of Florence, stands as a constant reminder of the heights someone can reach by mastering both art and engineering. Consistently throughout history, those aspiring to greatness have studied the lives and achievements of other successful individuals. Another figure who influenced Leonardo indirectly was the artist, architect, engineer, and writer Leon Battista Alberti. While it is unlikely that Leonardo and Alberti ever met, Alberti expanded on Brunelleschi's ideas, particularly in relation to perspective and portraying depth on a two-dimensional image. His achievements also leave a significant impression on Leonardo, emphasizing the importance of blending artistic skill with mathematical precision. Leonardo's only formal education is at an abacus school, where he learns basic math skills. He's left-handed and has the unusual habit of drawing and writing from right to left on a page, and with every letter facing backwards. The most likely explanation for this mirror script writing is to avoid smudging the ink with his left hand as he writes. However, there's also evidence to suggest that Leonardo is dyslexic. 2 years have passed since Leonardo first arrived in Florence. He's now 14, and his father has arranged an apprenticeship for him at one of the best art workshops in the city, led by Andrea del Verrocchio. The apprenticeship is a perfect fit for a young Leonardo. One exercise in Verrocchio's studio involves the students drawing draperies in black and white to capture the subtleties of light and shadows on the folds. These studies plant the seeds for Leonardo's development of sfumato, a technique for blurring contours and edges. Leonardo wrote, "Your shadows and lights should be blended without lines or borders, in the manner of smoke losing itself in the air." Some historians believe that a teenage Leonardo may have served as the model for Verrocchio's 4-foot bronze sculpture of the young warrior David standing triumphantly over the head of Goliath. There's a strong resemblance between this figure and the presumed self-portrait in Leonardo's incredible, yet unfinished, Adoration of the Magi. When Leonardo was 19, Verrocchio's studio, a place of both art and engineering, was given the monumental task of mounting a 2-ton globe on the top of Brunelleschi's dome, which they successfully achieved. This undertaking leaves a lasting impression on Leonardo, who decades later continued to reference this ambitious project in his notebooks, creating drawings of the hoists and gear mechanisms the studio built, and also writing about the huge concave mirrors used to concentrate sunlight to solder the globe's copper cladding, which he referred to as fire mirrors. Leonardo enjoyed Verrocchio's workshop so much that when his apprenticeship ended in 1472, when he was 20, he decided to continue both working and living there. We are now back in 1475, and Leonardo and Verrocchio have just finished their collaboration, creating the Baptism of Christ, which depicts John the Baptist pouring water over Jesus with 2 angels kneeling beside them. In comparing the angel on the left to the one on the right, their faces, hair, and draped clothing show a startling difference in quality and realism. The disparity is greater still between the bodies of Jesus and John the Baptist. Leonardo's depiction of Jesus utilizes his sfumato technique to capture the subtleties of light and shadow, and reveals that he is already at just 23 operating on a different level. It was after this that Verrocchio vowed to never complete another painting again. Unintentionally, the painting serves as much a quiet metaphor as a biblical scene, with Verrocchio, like John the Baptist, performing his final act before stepping back, and Leonardo, the young genius, portraying the ethereal Christ about to step forward. An X-ray analysis of the painting confirmed that the angel on the left, along with much of the background and the body of Jesus, were painted delicately with multiple thin layers of oil paint, sometimes smoothed by fingertips, a style Leonardo was developing at the time. Oil paint had just arrived in Italy, but Verrocchio never used it. In 1477, a 25-year-old Leonardo finally left Verrocchio's workshop and opened a workshop of his own. However, commercially it was a failure. Of the 3 known commissions he had during these 5 years, 1 was never started, and 2 were left incomplete. Despite this, the quality of the 2 unfinished paintings was enough to enhance his reputation. Leonardo's contribution to the Baptism of Christ didn't just mark the moment he surpassed his mentor's technical ability, it was a turning point in the history of art. His relentless curiosity, his innovative experiments with oil paint, and his mastery of light and shadow pushed beyond the boundaries of tradition. The leap in his techniques and vision was as dramatic as the shift from black and white photography to colour. He didn't simply refine what came before, he redefined what was possible, and continued to refine these skills for the rest of his life, bringing images to life with depth, emotion, and breathtaking realism. And yet, despite this remarkable achievement, Leonardo had still not found what many would consider conventional success, but he was only just beginning. This early milestone foreshadowed a career fueled by innovation and a legacy that would revolutionize not just art, but science, engineering, and ultimately our understanding of what it means to be human and our place in the universe. Like all of us, Leonardo wasn't without his distractions and demons, and in the next episode of this Leonardo da Vinci series, we'll explore why Leonardo da Vinci abandoned masterpieces, with particular focus on one of the greatest unfinished paintings of all time, the extraordinary Adoration of the Magi. Consistently throughout history, those aspiring to greatness have studied the lives and achievements of other successful individuals.